Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Teeaboo, and I am here for episode 6 of Kyoukai no Kanata, aka Kink, the show about spicy relationships between teenagers that have a lot going on, including blood play, role play, degradation, humiliation, glasses fetish, transformation, incest, femdom, findom, DDLG, exhibitionism, voyeurism, corruption, and grouping, as well as everyone's favorite fetish, healthy relationships between traumatized people finding shared ground in feeling unaccepted by the general populace at large, but then finding that they feel a bit of companionship in their mutual trauma that they didn't actually share but can find common ground in, and that's really cute. Yay! That's our show. Last week's episode was a shocking twist from what was kind of in my expectation. For the episode immediately after our big revelation to both of these characters that they're both really fucked up in different ways, and that specifically for Mirai, that Akihito is actually a monster and maybe gets what she's going through. And we took a kind of a hard left turn and spent an entire episode focusing on Mitsuki Nase and some deep emotional state stuff for her as well. A big focus of the episode was sort of this existential idea of being alone, not necessarily physically alone or away from other people, but the feeling like no one can ever understand you is the way that I took it, and it was rather touching as we found a way to relate to Mitsuki in our relation to each other and bring her along to this festival that she very obviously wanted to go to and wasn't ever able to go to. And that was all very, very sweet. And then there was an after credit scene where Mirai and Izumi Nase show up, and there's lots of tension, and I have no idea what that's all about, but I'm really, really hoping we get to find out to some extent. It would be kind of crazy if we just had that and we know that Izumi Nase and Mirai have had some conversation, and we don't actually get to find out what the conversation was. We just see Mirai acting differently and have to piece it together ourselves. I don't know if this is gonna happen, but if that actually happens, that would be the greatest thing. That would be so much fun. But I don't know. In any case, we've got another episode of Kyoukai no Kanata. We have kind of brought Mirai into the fold by making her a member of this little squad of characters that hangs out together, giving us kind of a squad, kind of a little KyoAni squad. And now we move onward into the next episode. The title of this next episode is Shocking Pink. As with the rest of these color-coded things, I have zero clue what that's going to be referring to, but Shocking Pink, and we're coming off of a very, isolated episode in terms of focusing mostly on Mitsuki, so I don't really have any predictions for this one. I'm ready to just watch and go with the flow, so let's do that. So, I've got episode 6 of Kyoukai no Kanata up and ready to go. It is sitting at 0 seconds. There will be 2 versions of this reaction video. You can find a picture-in-picture version with the video up there, linked in the description. Timer-based version will be up on YouTube. You want to do a syncy thing, you can do a syncy thing. Syncy copy, beep beep timer coming at you now. Boom. That's P. Looks like P. It's yellow. Oh, hi. Oh, hi. Oh, ha. So are we gonna, you're probably wondering how we got here situation? I assume. I assume. So, guess they went out to fight a monster and got covered in monster goop, and now they're all showering? But why are they all staying away from Mitsuki, specifically? That makes sense. You know exactly. Massive potential? Define. No, definitely don't do that. Yeah, wait. wait. Not the glasses. Not the glasses. That's just a plain shortcake. Oh, God. All right. Yeah, okay. It doesn't work. Needs the glasses. Yeah, it says, oh, jeez. Oh. Oh. 100%. Okay. Right. Yeah, it's a crazy hobby. Hmm. Hmm. Why? Is that a credit card? Oh, she is fully doing this. uh, fully confirmed. All right, there we go. It explodes in yellow goo. Oh. Well, that's convenient as hell. Gotta get there before Nino-san? That's quite a bit of money. Yeah, it is Nino. Okay. Bye-bye. Ah, fucking hell. She says she runs out before she gets to find... Yeah, she completely did. Oh, Jesus. Destruction of property. Oh, they've got cleaners, though. It's fine. Okay, we just went for a totally different mood. Back to the roof. Hello, fruit-type Dreamshade. What is the one wrinkle? That was fun. Oh! That explains a lot. So now we're doing a thing. Yeah. Extremely pungent. So they're skunk plants. They're skunk plants. This is gonna be just a fun episode? This is just gonna be a fun episode with no stakes. I'm down. What, like pushing them up? Incorrigible. Sure. She's just gone, yeah. It's gonna get exploded on, dude. You wanna bet? Ding! Hello! Back around the bend, cut to shower. Alright. Shut the fucking look on that! Oh. Oh, it's a metaphor for how they smell everybody else, but they can't smell each other. Yeah, I'm just making that up. I don't think that's intentional, but maybe it is. Yeah, fuck you. Fuck you. You can't just do that. Right. By doing that, you fully imply. Ah. Do you, though? Yeah, that's the joke. Okay. Are you tweeting this right now? You need to not be tweeting this. Even the dogs are like, oh god. Oh boy. Okay, okay. Mhm. Sure. Where are you gonna get one? And thus the whole episode. So that's why Mitsuki is probably involved, and why I is involved. How about both? What does it have to do with the bonsai? Oh, money. Money, money. Is that a bag of snacks? Oh god. Oh god. Gross. Why? Why do you want these? Alright. What are you, Mirai? Magical girl Mirai? What the shit? What is this episode? Alright. Okay. This is a weird one. What? There's shocking pink. Explosion yellow. So you're probably wondering how I got here. Everybody in the showers. This is the strangest episode we've had so far. By far. Oh my god. It's much worse. Got it. Alright. Sure. I see. Twitch, twitch. It's very hard to fuck with. No? But then Mitsuki would be smelly forever. Of course, Mitsuki's gonna jump in and there we go, yeah. Oh, mask comes off. He's not gonna be able to smell it. Oh, God. Oh, there we go. Well, he tried. He tried. Oh! Yeah, you got another gas mask? Reverse bubble boy! Beautiful. Which is what? No. Stop it. She's gonna pop that bubble and make you both puke. There we go. Full call. I bet somebody already did. Round however many. So we're gonna do an. Is this an excuse for an idle number with one of our characters? Fully. Completely. Whoa. You are fully. Oh, it's a barrier. Yeah, that's very smart. Oh, it's a particular song. Which is. We're not gonna get to hear it until we can hear it. It'll be something embarrassing. It just happens to be. A pale glint. I really don't know if Hiromi is telling the truth or lying at this point. Alright, here we go. Oh, Jesus. Ultimate power. Alright, let's see what we're working with here. Wait. Alright. It's neither of your. Okay. What do you mean you don't want to? You're even worse! Oh no. No, no, don't tongue-in-cheek this. I mean, you have to. There's no other way. But to chew the scenery and go too hard. Hard cut to him failing alone. Joke about not being able to get close to her. Oh, no joke. Oh, there's the joke. Okay. Wait, we're gonna do a montage? Hit me with a montage. No? 1 week later. Okay. Oh my god. You might have. Oh, he's a part of it too now. All right, all right. They both are. Okay, okay, all right. Bigger speakers. We saw these clothes drenched in the yellow stuff, right? It's gonna fail completely. Oh Jesus, they actually do it. Who's gonna be killing it while it's focused on them? This is so genre fucked. It's absurd. All right, how is this gonna go terribly wrong? Yeah, we're still fully tongue in cheek here. God damn it, crying under an umbrella. This is so silly. It's also just so much animation legwork to actually make this happen. Okay. Oh, there's our pale glow. Alright, it's fun. Okay. Just now, who was gonna kill it while it was distracted exactly? Right. Who is doing the taking it down part? Yeah, there we go. Explode. Full end of episode? Is that full end of episode right there? That's the whole episode? That's the whole episode. What? Here we are. fully like an episode of a different show placed into this show. What, like, can you imagine binging this and going full whiplash from previous episode, Mitsuki Nase's like childhood trauma and feeling of like deep existential loneliness, into an entire episode dedicated to, I mean, I understand why it's here. It's tomfoolery and shenanigans to demonstrate that they're a group now. All right. All right, let's see if there's an after credits this time so I don't pause it this time. Nope, that's a preview. Cool. Oh, what a strange episode. I mean, this isn't an episode that's going to stand up to like deep criticism, and it's not an episode that I think deserves a lot of deep criticism. This is kind of an offbeat, goofy, comedic episode, and I said it as we were fading into ED, but like the purpose of this is pretty clear. It's pretty obvious, right? Like, we've had our emotional touchstone episodes with Mirai, with well, sort of with Akihito, but we did that through the lens of Mirai, so it's different. But that's fine because he's a core character and we'll figure that stuff as we move along. But then we get our core episode of like comprehending Nase, Mitsuki. And now we have our group. And so we do an episode of goofy comedic hijinks while our group, just to establish our group's dynamics. And that's exactly what the entirety of this episode is, right? Like, Mirai enters the club and she does goofy things that lead them into their missions. It's obvious that they all end up eventually helping her out, which is cool, right? Our inciting incident for the mission thing is not that this thing exploded on us. It is that there is a payout for this yokai and we all go and help her do it, right? So there's a support group, there's a friend group going on, there's a system being created. And then there are the interdynamics, like Mirai's presence in the literature club is fodder for Akihito's glasses fetish, is fodder for Mitsuki to make fun of Akihito because of said fetish and his like liking of Mirai, because there's obviously some conflict there, and also fodder for more Hiromi sort of incesty, siscon-y stuff. And then bringing her through these different places like leads us straight up to this position where we go and we fight this thing. That's the whole setup for the episode, and we don't actually defeat it, so there's no real conclusion to the episode. It's just an excuse to do all of the things that come from that. And like, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just not what I expected from this episode or from this show. And to be fair, maybe that's not fair, because I would expect an episode like this of just like, we're a group doing goofy hijinks in a Haruhi world, right? Because the Haruhi world is literally, that's the premise of Haruhi Suzumiya, is we're a group of goofy kids in high school. We want to find crazy shit and do crazy shit. Every episode we go and we find or do crazy shit until things get more serious later, right? This is completely different. We're in a dangerous world filled with yokai and stuff, or yomu and stuff, and we have to like fight them to survive. But we're also in high school seeking out fun adventures with our friends. And there's like a bit of a disconnect there that I don't know if I quite completely like. Like, I think I would like this type of episode in isolation, or if it were an earlier episode in the show, but coming immediately after, on the heels of like, he's a Yomu who almost just destroyed the world by going, crossing his line or whatever and becoming Yomufied. And she's a blood monster spirit dude who's got a person who's associated with the association coming after her for like a vengeance plot. And we just sort of fully pause on all of that to do this. There's nothing wrong with pausing that overall plot to do a goofy hijinks episode. It's just so unexpected. And that brings me to the next thing, which is I want to know who's responsible for this, because there are a lot of little gags in here that I really like. Lots of like in isolation, on the micro scale, a lot of the little gags work really well, and a lot of the little like directorial choices work really well to bolster those gags. So stuff like the explosion moment where we cut to the outside of the, where is it actually? It's an obvious cut. Like this cut here where they're both spinning around, we do twice, I think, and then cut to the outside of the school, yellow goop flows everywhere, right? And then we reuse that every time as like the punchline to the joke. They do a thing, it doesn't work, cut to outside, yellow goop. It's a pretty perfect like punchline setup and a three petition into the ending. So it works. It is goofy as stuff. There's also I did this intro thing that I did about like, haha, this show's about fetishes, haha. Before seeing this episode, I had no idea that this episode was going to have quite as much like sexual tension throughout it as it does. But this episode is fucking dripping, yes, literally, haha, with sexual tension. It's a lot. It's just a lot. And you know, coming back, being confident, and all of it is just sort of random. There's kind of, I guess I would call it a little bit of haha random humor. There are moments here that work really well. Like the moment when she tells him to be more discreet. You should be more discreet, senpai. And then the other girls are like, oh god, it's all him. Ew. Is so perfectly fucked up and like a great indicator of where they're at in their friendship and relationship. But also horrifying. And then, you know, you get the stuff like, oh, she's actually still wearing those dirty panties, mind explosion for him, right? Lots of things like that leading into small boobs jokes, and bigger boobs jokes happen with Mitsuki later. And we keep, like, the framing continues to be around that for a little bit. Like, we reinforce the joke with this shot, honestly. It's kind of funny. And then we get the introduction of these, they're not Dazaki frames, they're fully different from a Dazaki frame, but these like artistically done different frames to do our montage and some of our tongue-in-cheekness and the jokes like that, and that's fine. So, I mean, of course the episode is drenched in sexual tension, haha drenched, because we're literally, the way it's been written is that there's a dream shade that literally responds to sexy teenage girls, so the requirement be sexy teenage girls on screen for the voyeuristic audience and the voyeuristic plant dream shade, you know? All right, so we bring in more characters. I don't understand why they're pushing their underwear at her. And then we do this, and this is where we take off into a little bit more of the, like, how would I call it? What's the word that I'm looking for? Exploitative. That's the word that I'm looking for. This whole sequence is kind of just exploitative. It's exploitative, like, by the characters of their other characters, and then it's particularly exploitative. Like, we talked about this when we put her in a maid costume, before, but, like, we put her in, I don't know what to call this, but it is very slutty. Ain't nothing wrong. I'm not trying to shame nobody. Not trying to say anything. This is just a very slutty outfit, and they all know it, and the people drawing it know it, and the whole show knows it, and that's the joke. And then they make her do all this posing, and I get it. She's a cute girl, and I guess if you're watching this and you're like a 16-year-old boy, then you're like, oh, fuck yeah. Fuck yeah, Kuriyama-san. And then there are just so many random jokes. It's gotten too fat, we go in for it, big explosion of pink, everybody's gooped. Darn. This is kind of fun. The whole gas mask sequence is enjoyable and goofy. This just feels like such an out of place episode, you know? It feels like an episode from a different... You know what? It feels like an OVA. That's what it feels like. Bingo. Nailed it. It feels like an OVA episode. Actually, 100% like an OVA episode. It is entirely disconnected from the rest of the plot. The only connection to the rest of the plot is Mirai needs money. Right? Like, that's literally it. There are a couple of other things, like Mirai's in the club, and then little more subtextual things of, like, friendships and how they're developing, and that's it. All of that stuff is stuff that's commonly done in OVA episodes, right? So premise-wise, you've basically got, like, Here's our cast of characters. We know that they're friends. All we have to do is show them being friends together and then make that a 20-plus minute episode, right? That's our whole OVA recipe for an OVA-itis-filled OVA episode. The kind of OVAs that I don't like, right? Because they're the kind of OVAs that are like, we're going to tell a full little story, like the Violet Evergarden OVA, episode 14. Tells a full story, glorious. And then there are the other episodes where it's just like, we just want a thing to bundle with the Blu-ray, and it needs to have these characters in it, and it needs to be fan service filled. Whether that fan service is sexual or not is irrelevant. We need service. So that means see all our characters, have the characters be cute, together, continue down relationship dynamics that have been established so that they feel familiar to us as we watch them interact, and they are. And then, if you get the opportunity to have your characters do some set piece thing, do it. And that's exactly what we do here by the end of the episode, once we move on over into the performance idol thing. Now, the actual gag here is really fun, and most importantly, I think the direction around the whole idol performance is kind of right on the money. And not just around the whole idol performance. It kind of all starts, I think, once we get... I've had enough of this stench, right? That's still in goofy mode, but it's once we get to... I mean, it stings so badly here. Like, as soon as this shot comes up, the entire rest of the episode has changed to satire. Everything from this point onward is just satire, as far as I'm concerned. It's still using our characters, but it all goes into full melodrama, right? With the underlying comedic tension and this stuff, and the I refuse to give up sort of vibe from here. And we switch to the Oni-chan. That shade utterly, blah, blah, blah. I can't turn a blind eye. And then we turn over to Aki, and it's just snap, snap, snap. This is the perfect, like, before the final battle episode where everybody's like, no, we must get our dedication to the light together, and then we will fight together as one, because our power as friends is truly the greatest thing in this universe, right? This is that whole conversation. And the touching base and, like, communicating things. I'm gonna go kill that shade at all cost. I'm so sorry. You're all doing this just because of me. And then everybody, like, no, we'll do it together. I'll be rooting for you. Yay. It's super tongue-in-cheek. And even the like, cut to montage, which does not cut us to montage. This is cut to montage time, right? Now that that's over and done with, it's time for training. I think I said at this moment, like, cut to montage now. We don't. We get that during the musical performance, which is kind of weird. But it's understandable because we're trying to create that like, last episode victory through song bullshit. So it's at this point where I have to go and look at the staff and stuff and determine whether the storyboarder or episode director did any work on, like, Love Live or any of the other major, like, Idolmaster type of idol shows. Because if so, then that makes more sense than it does right now. And I don't know whether this is part of the light novel, because it's really difficult to create the sequence of, like, we're all going to sing an idol number at this dream shade in a light novel in order to... How do you light novel if I don't feel like that's part of the light novel? It could be, but I don't know how you write out, like, and then we had a dank idol number, but we forgot who was gonna kill the yokai at the end, and so we lost. It sounds weird. So I'm gonna go look up staff. Yeah. Shit, man. I got nothing. So, it's a weird staff. It's a weird staff for the episode, as listed by ANN. Because there are two storyboard artists listed. One is Taichi Ogawa, and the other is Tatsuya Ishihara. Both of these individuals are primarily and almost exclusively KyoAni staffers, and neither of them has any like, notable staff position on anything idol-ish. Except that both of them have worked on both K-On! And Liz and Hibike. Tatsuya Ishihara directed Hibike, So there are layers of musicality built into this, but it doesn't track as, like, yeah, we're gonna do an idol sequence. Super fucking weird. So there's no history of that, and yet it felt to me like they nailed the tropes of it, like the visual language of this sort of a victory over something greater via like the training that we put in to do one musical number together. You know, sort of the kinds of things that we would have seen many months ago in like Zombieland Saga or something like that, where it's kind of tongue-in-cheekifying this whole idol genre. This gets nailed. I honestly think they nail it. It's too much, and I don't necessarily like it, but I think they nailed what they were going for. Okay, rephrase. I think they nailed what they were going for. I don't know if what they were going for was worth going for. How about that? I think that the song itself is fun and catchy. A lot of the animation in it is fun and solid. I mean, we ain't in Symphogear Performance Land where shit's amazing, right? We're in pretty okay Performance Land where there's solid choreography and it's like put together well. I particularly dislike the way that their skirts move. I don't understand it. I'll see if I can find yeah, okay, there. Like this. What is going on there? How does that even, what is this? How is cloth? How do cloth move? What is this? How is it, why is it doing that? What? What? Okay, but then we montage through. The montaging through parts are very fun, because, you know, it cuts a lot of work out and actually showing any kind of montage. But it gives us this idea that this whole thing has been going on, even though it hasn't, and it doesn't need to have been, and it's totally worthless. And there are all these little cut-ins, like the little hip pop, and then wink, and then bam. Yeah, it's really fun in the weirdest way. And then over hyper melodramatic moments like I crying in the rain with an umbrella. It's just silly. And more, and we lead into the obvious joke, of course. I do think that the whole bringing out eyes sequence is pretty dank. It's pretty fucking dope, and she nails it. And her voice actress nails it. And we did it! We pulled it off! Oops, we forgot the linchpin of our strategy. Glorious. Perfect. Just right. Very big Vox Machina energy. Big Vox Machina energy. Oh, gosh. I just want to dismiss this episode offhand. Like, for a fun, goofy, comedic episode, it's pretty good. For something to, like, look into for great detail and gloriousness, it's not so good. There's some pretty good dance sequences. There's some funny jokes. There's some kind of off-putting jokes all the way through as well for me. I don't know. It is a hit and miss episode for sure. I mean, we're 6 episodes in. I've said for each of the last 5 episodes, like, show hasn't gone off the rails yet. It's been going just fine. This is the first off-railsness that we've had in my mind. Because it's a massive tonal shift. That's why. That's the only real reason. And part of that is, like, there is zero indication of darker things afoot in this episode. I feel like this episode works very, very differently if there's either... All it needs, honestly, is an after-credit scene, right? Like, how much did the tone of our previous episode, which was already a darker, more emotionally, like, poignant episode, how much did it shift once we got that, like, kind of dark, mysterious, kind of creepy after-credit scene with Izumi and Mirai? Suddenly there's confusion. What's going on behind the scenes? We don't know everything. We don't understand the reality that's here. This episode feels like a thin veneer, and so if you have a scene in this episode that shows that there are dark forces at work behind the scenes, right? Like, okay, mid-roll break, we cut to the dude from the association in a dark room, like, send a message. That's it. We don't have to know what the message is, and he just goes like, certainly, we'll be ready to move soon. Enter. Completely changes the nature of this episode. This episode doesn't become like, I don't know what they're doing or why. This is a bunch of kids who just want to goof off in the face of darkness and despair, goofing off anyway, and not really knowing about the darkness that's coming to them. There's dramatic irony there. It's the whole the whole bomb under the table speech from what's his face, from Orson Welles. It's like that's what it. Wait, is it Orson Welles? I might have fucked that up. Hold on. Bomb under table. theory. Yeah. It's Hitchcock. I'm an idiot. Yeah, it's not Orson Welles. It's Alfred Hitchcock. Sorry, different famous director. Different famous director with great ideas about how media should be made. I think that would change the episode super dramatically if there was just one thing that felt dark in this bubbly fun episode, but there isn't. There's not even a little bit. It's all played for laughs. And maybe that feels a little bit wrong to me. Like, this feels more like a Chunibyo episode, and that's not to go off and, like, make fun of Chunibyo and blah, blah, blah. This feels more like a Chunibyo episode. Chunibyo is a show where there are no external stakes. The only stakes are the internal relationships between our characters, right? So a goofball episode like this fits to a T. It's perfect. But in a show where there are stakes, and, like, 2 episodes ago, one of our characters almost became a monster forever and destroyed the world, or was killed by one of his friends, like, this doesn't fit. So we're maybe a little bit off the rails. I don't think we're, like, off the rails for sure. I do think we need to make a hard turn back into something more serious, especially coming off of that weird after credit scene, which implies that we're gonna get darker in the next episode. Like our previous episode is Mitsuki Nase feels alone because she's been trained to feel that way by her family. And then the final scene of that episode indicates that maybe there's something sinister about Izumi Nase and the whole Nase clan by extension, right? Like, maybe there's a grand conspiracy or something scary in this world, and maybe we're going to address that the next episode. Instead, get puked on by an exploding fruit monster that likes to perv on high school students. Okay. So I guess I'm just going to dismiss this episode. It's weird. I don't love it. I don't hate it either, but I'm kind of pretty ambivalent toward it compared to the previous things we've seen from this show. Yeah, I think that's about all I've got. All right. I've been Teeaboo. This has been Kyoukai no Kanata, episode 6. I hope you've enjoyed it as much, or, as always, more than I have. If you enjoyed this episode wholeheartedly with no feelings of, like, that's a little weird, then more power to you. That's great. I wish that I could do that more often and turn my brain off more frequently, but I can't. So I'm going to enjoy it the way that I do. It definitely had some fun stuff to this one. Definitely some fun stuff. Definitely some meme fodder in this one. Not too much meat, though. Meh. We'll see how Mirai finds a way to feed herself in the future. I don't know. Maybe just more photos. Probably just more photos. She's not very good at the whole shade hunting thing. Not her strong spot. Okay. Me Teeaboo. This Kyoukai no Kanata. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope to catch you next week. If you want the next week's episode a little bit early, it'll be up on Patreon. Check that out. And I'll see you there. Peace.